Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today guys, we are reading more Roxy by Ellen Miles. Yep, and we are gonna start with chapter 4, where we left off. And so guys, let's get started. Chapter 4. I came as soon as I could, said Miss Dobbins as she bustled into the exam room. Oh, I thought you said there were only 2 puppies. She looked at the puppies. Then she stared in turn at Charles, the Bean, Sammy, and Mr. Peterson's. And how did you and all end up here? She looked bewildered. Charles' dad laughed. You know how it is, puppy. You know how it is, puppies. Just seem to have a way of finding us. He said. He explained about how they had picked up the puppy from the side of the road and brought her straight to Dr. Gibson. Miss Dobbins nodded. Good for you. She approached the puppy on the table and gently held out a finger for her to sniff. Then she turned to Dr. Gibson. How badly is she hurt? Dr. Gibson smiled. Thankfully, the leg doesn't seem to be broken. This little girl was good luck. Said Miss Dobbins. If you consider it's good luck to be born on the side of the road. She shook her head. We've seen this way too often at the shelter. A stray dog with puppies, I guess. The ones we find really are the lucky ones. Charles remembered when his puppy Buddy had arrived at Caring Paws, along with his mom and 2 sisters, like Buddy's family. He said, That's right, said Miss Dobbins. She knelt to pet the mother dog. Hey there, darling, she said. You're all safe. She picked up each of the pups and examined them. Eyes are open, teeth are in. Looks like they're about 8 weeks old and starting to eat solid food. That's the perfect age for them to leave their mom and go to new homes. She turned to Dad and raised her eyebrows. Oh no, he said, holding up his hands. We can't take on 3 puppies. We've done it before, but it's a lot of work. And Betsy's in the middle of researching a big story right now. Charles' mom was a newspaper reporter. Miss Dobbins barely blinked. How about 1 puppy then? She asked, gesturing to the puppy on the exam table. Charles grinned. Yes, he whispered to Sammy, pumping his fist. Up until that moment, he had not even thought about whether his family would foster the puppy with the hurt leg. Everything had moved so fast from the very first moment when the Bean had spotted her on the side of the road. Now, suddenly, he wanted more than anything to bring his sweet puppy home and take care of her. Dad just laughed. I'm serious, said Miss Dobbins. Dad's face changed. He stopped laughing. Oh, he said. Well, I'm already full at the shelter, but I'm squeezing this mom and 2 pups in, said Miss Dobbins. We are way too busy at Caring Paws to also be caring for a pup who needs special attention. Dr. Gibson nodded. This puppy will need to be kept quiet for at least a few days. No running around. She needs to rest, ideally in a very calm environment. Dad laughed again. Well, I can't exactly say that our home is very calm environment. With 3 kids and a puppy, but I suppose it's calmer than the shelter. She can stay in my room, said Charles. I'll make her a cozy little bed with soft blankets and towels and a big cardboard box. I'll bring her food and water and sleep right there next to her at night. You probably even read to her, Sammy said, the way you always read the Sunday comics to Buddy. Aw, do you do that? Dr. Gibson asked. Charles felt himself blushing. I guess, he said. Anyway, we'll take really good care of her. I promise. Hold on there, mister, said his dad. I can't remember agreeing to this. Did we even talk about it? Charles just looked at his dad. He tried to make his eyes look as huge as pleading as Buddy's did when he was begging for a treat. If Charles had a tail, he would have wagged it. How could Dad be able to resist helping this feisty little pup? After all, that was a foster family did. That's what the Petersons family did. They helped puppies who needed them. Dad asked again. Did we? Charles did the big-eyed thing again, cocking his head this time. If he could have stuck out his ears, hopefully, the way Buddy did when you asked if he wanted to go for a walk, he would have. Dad raised his hands. I surrender. But then he reached for his phone and punched a button, but only if Mom agrees. Yes, Charles whispered to Sammy with another fist pump. He knew Mom would not say no when she heard that this puppy especially needed their help. I knew it, Charles told Lizzie later as they sat on the floor in his room with the brown and white puppy. Once I used the begging puppy face on Dad, it was all over. She held up a palm for a high five. Well done, she said, and this little one here did her part too, she added gently, petting the puppy who lay nestled in Charles' old red plaid baby blanket. Her purple wrapped leg stuck out straight, but she looked cozy and happy. Charles could tell she enjoyed the attention. Wait till you see me when I can run around again. Then you'll really be impressed. She's a little tuggy, said Charles. She made it even out there on her own. You can tell her leg hurts, but she barely ever cries. I wonder if she misses her family, said Lizzie. That's why I put so many of Buddy's toys in with her, said Charles, so she wouldn't feel too lonely. The puppy was surrounded by a floppy duck, a long purple snake, 3 cushy balls, and a mostly shredded yellow teddy bear. Looking up at Charles, she put a paw on the duck and gave her tiny head a shake. I'll never be lonely as long as you're my friend. Chapter 5. Wow, that was so much fun, Sammy said to Charles. It was a few days after the great puppy rescue, and they were at the snack bar at Laser Quest, eating French fries after a wild game of laser tag. I know, said Charles. I hated to leave the puppy, but I couldn't miss your birthday party. Anyway, Lizzie's taking good care of her. Another boy came over and smacked Sammy's hand. Great shot, he said. I thought I had you cornered in that purple room, but you escaped. Then you got me when I came through the yellow hallway." Sammy and Charles laughed. "We ambushed so many people in that hallway," said Charles. "Green team rules." Charles' heart was still thudding from all the crazy running around. The lights were so bright and the music was so loud. It was like being inside a video game. Video games." Charles glanced over to the arcade area. "Do you have any quarters?" he asked Sammy. They had time for a few games before cake and presents. Sammy shook his head. "I think I could loan you a couple," he said someone behind Charles. He turned to see who had spoken. It was Mr. Mason. His teacher put his soda down next to his own basket of fries and started rummaging in his pocket, looking for quarters. What are you doing here?" Charles asked without even thinking. Then he felt bad. "I mean, it's funny to see you here." Mr. Mason smiled. "It's funny to see you too," he said. He put his arm around the woman standing next to him. She was pretty, with long, wavy brown hair and big brown eyes that matched her brown skin. "I'm here with my sweetie. This is Janice. Janice smiled at Charles and Sammy. You must be in Tom's class," she said. "I mean, Mr. Mason's." Charles and Sammy nodded. Charles was still getting used to the idea of seeing his teacher at Laser Quest. Now he also had to get used to the idea that his teacher had a first name and a girlfriend. He stared at Mr. Mason and Janice, but somehow he couldn't think of a thing to say. Mr. Mason seemed to understand how's that puppy, he asked. Charles always told his classmates about the puppies they were fostering, and he already shared a lot about the new puppy. Charles smiled. "She's doing great," he said. "She's so smart, Lizzie, and I taught her some tricks. Already, even though her leg hurts, she can sit up pretty and play dead. The puppy gets around really well on 3 legs too," said Sammy. He had come over to play with the puppy that morning. "I heard that you foster puppies," Janice said to Charles. "My son Derek wants to do that too, but I'm too busy as a single mom. I worked long hours as a nurse, but Derek lives with his dad 3 nights a week, and he might agree to fostering. They've been visiting a mother dog and 2 puppies over at the shelter, Carrying Paws. I think it's called. That's our puppy's mom," Charles burst out, "and her brothers." For a second, Charles wasn't sure how he felt about another family in town fostering puppies, but would there be enough to go around? He shook his head. That was silly, of course. There would. Of course there would. Sadly, there were always puppies who needed help, and how great would it be if someone fostered the mother dog and her puppies? "Cool," said Janice. "That's my son over there." She pointed to some boys playing video games in the arcade. "He's here for a birthday party." "It's my birthday too," said Sammy. "Oh, happy birthday," said Janice. Charles recognized the teenage boy from the science fair over the other night. The one who had made the robot. He was tall and skinny with an afro and oversized glasses. He could see a resemblance to Jenny's. Their faces were the same shape. Was that him? Was that your puppy's name? Janice asked. I hear she's really cute and feisty. Charles nodded. She is, he said. She doesn't have a name yet. I mean, she has lots of names, but everyone in the family calls her something different. But nothing has stuck so far. Janice laughed. What are some of the names? My dad calls her Rosie, and said Charles, because she's such a happy girl. And my mom calls her Moxie because she's a little toughie. Mom says that's a name for someone with a lot of spirit. Mr. Mason nodded and popped a French fry into his mouth. What about you? What do you call her? I just call her all kinds of nicknames, said Charles, like little girl and honey bun. Lizzie, my sister, calls her Isabel de la Luna. I have no idea why. And the bean calls her Uppy, of course, added Sammy. Janice closed her eyes for a moment. I'm good at naming things, she said. Let me think. How about Roxy? It's cute, and it combines Rosie and Moxie. Charles raised his eyebrows. Wow, that's great, he said. Mr. Mason's girlfriend was really smart. I bet everyone can agree on that one. Boys, called Sammy's dad. Just then, time for cake and presents. He waved from the long table. He and Sammy's mom had been busy setting up. Have fun, said Mr. Mason. I hope I get to meet that puppy someday. Whatever you decide to name her, said Janice, smiling at Charles. She sounds like one special pup. See you two at school tomorrow, said Mr. Mason. I can't wait to hear what you've come up with your science fair projects. He and Janice walked off hand in hand. Charles' stomach fell. He stared at Sammy. Uh-oh, he said. He had totally forgotten that Monday was the day they were supposed to tell Mr. Mason what projects they decided to do for the science fair. Oh no, guys. So, guys, we reached chapter 6, guys. So, guys, we're going to end this video right here, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Bye! See you next time.